Outside, security footage shows Seiko fleeing in his car. As the paramedics arrive, inside, Aggie is desperately fighting to save her daughter's life.
At 3:57 a.m., he just shows up at the Mernda police station and asked an officer to shoot him and then proceeded to explain what he had done. Meanwhile, back at the house, the scene was being processed and officers not only found the knife that he had left behind, but they also found the hammer that he had used to break the window. So even though the beast literally confessed, he says it wasn't actually him, or basically that he wasn't in his right mind when he did it. And based on that, I'm sure it will come as no surprise to you that Luay tried to claim that he was mentally impaired at the time of the murder. However, from the moment her daughter was murdered, Aggie promised her that she wouldn't stop until she got justice. And even with the year's worth of roadblocks, she has never given up. So trial was scheduled for May of 2023. And a month before it began, he changed his plea from not guilty to guilty, and that meant he would no longer need to go to trial. Instead, there would just be a hearing in front of the judge to determine the length of his sentence. In the summer of 2023, the hearing was delayed after he fired his attorney because he said he felt pressured to plead guilty, and that he said he wanted to revoke that plea. He also said that he wanted to represent himself in court, but ended up being convinced to keep his guilty plea and to get new representation. However, they still had to delay the hearing because his new attorney, Tim Marsh, said that he needed more time to be briefed on the case. But ultimately, his hearing was scheduled to begin on January 29th, 2024. Now, for the prosecution, they were seeking a sentence of life in prison. They believe that he not only meticulously planned Celeste's murder, but that he feels no remorse for what he's done, and it's quite possible that he would do it again if given the opportunity. Now, as for the defense, they relied heavily on his mental impairment. 3 different professionals said that it was their opinion that he was faking his symptoms during his assessments. And to be clear, the prosecution wasn't denying this. However, they were rejecting the idea that his diagnoses made him any less responsible for what he had done. They believe that he is more at risk of doing something like this again if he was given the chance. And that's exactly what one forensic psychiatrist testified to. Dr. Darji played a big role in a lot of this, and he basically said that yes, Luay was mentally impaired at the time of the murder, and it did impact his judgment, but that these conditions didn't force him to kill Celeste. In the end, Judge Jane Dixon sentenced Luay Seiko to a mere 36 years in prison with a parole eligibility in 30 years.